place for me. Protection from the storm, it's you I'm choosing. You've got a love so pure, it pulls me in for sure. It's all consuming. Your gentle lovingness washes away my mess. It proves you truly love the real me. Behold the beauty of the Lord. Oh, it washes me whiter than snow. Oh, this I know for sure. Your love, it makes me pure. Come wash over me and make me clean. Behold the beauty of the Lord. When I wanna run away, you gently reach for me. You set me up so high, I have no worries. You did not hide your face, did not turn me away. Of you, Lord, I will sing and tell my story.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Recovery Unplugged Live. I hope you all had a happy Mental Health Awareness Month. Amy is fresh off of her birthday party.
Yes, my James Bond themed birthday party.
Bond birthday. How was it?
It was low key, but there were about, 10 to 15 people there. And the cake, I put it on Facebook because I paid $170 for it. But look, my cat is such a jerk. He knocked my cake topper off and broke the head off.
He knows how to get under your skin.
Yeah, but here it is. You can't really tell. I glued the head back on because I paid so much money for the cake. And she made like the casino chips out of fondant and put it on. And so the bottom tier was lemon cake with cream cheese icing, and then the top tier was like red velvet cake, and it had like, it was a tuxedo, right? It was the top half of the tuxedo in the fondant. And so I still have cake left over, but it's yummy. So it was worth every penny I spent on it.
If you have red velvet cake left over, I'll take some, but lemon cake. I don't do lemon desserts. My grandma loved this dessert called lemon fluff. They make it every Easter in her memory. And they always ask me if I want it, and I'm like, I didn't eat that when she was alive.
Here you go. This is the coaster I got. It says,
Perfect is boring.
Is boring.
That's right. Hey, so this show got submitted to got accepted into another festival or two.
Yeah,
and got laurels?
It's a nominee. It's a nominee at Newsfest and Annabelle's Most Important Films. Important films.
That's for doing good work in the mental health community, Amy. Keep it up. We might be nominated for 2 episodes. The ones we'd be was with Linda Arnold and Sophia Louisa at Newsfest, and then at Annabelle's Important Films, we were nominated for Stephanie's episode. And any episode with Del Weston is always worth its weight in gold. But also say some prayers for Stephanie, because I don't know if you saw, but her dad posted her brother is back in the hospital with the cancer. Yeah. So. Yep. So prayers out to Stephanie Ray and her brother and her family.
Yeah. But not only that, so she is actually, the song Here With Me is also a finalist in Annabelle's Festival. And of course, Letters to Daniel is too, so excited about that.
So it's what, a month and a half away?
Yeah. I'm doing the countdown.
Yep, I'm ready.
And then there's the Conquering Disabilities with Film. We are still accepting submissions, which is also a part of the MegaFest. If you have scripts, films, artwork, one-sheets, music, whatever, like even novels or ebooks, you can submit them
to my festival, part of the festival, to AOF, to Hollywood Dreams, and really at this point the most economical way to do it is use their submission platform, NoRiskBFest.com.
And they can, and it's mental health topics. If any of the creators have a mental health diagnosis, or if they struggle with mental health advocacy as part of their story.
If they have or if they're a caregiver for physical or mental health or invisible diseases like fibromyalgia or diabetes, like anything, like really, because that the whole group, you know, it's not just, but I focus intensely on mental health, but it can be physical disabilities as well, because that also will impact you emotionally and mentally. So I feel like it falls under my festival's purview.
Gotcha. And we have Bob here. Bob, how do you say your last name?
Saenz.
Bob Saenz. Amy, how did you meet Bob?
I met Bob at the International Christian Film and Music Festival.
Yes.
And he was teaching at the Academy, and he also had a film there, I think was nominated.
I didn't have a film there. We had a film there.
Was that last year?
Last year.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to do this so my camera stops doing that. So that we had a film there last year when they had the virtual.
Oh, I hate virtual.
Yeah, so I won best screenplay, and with with the other people that wrote on the film too, not just me. So.
Right.
But we didn't get to accept it, and we didn't. I never saw an award, but we won, so I was happy about that.
I try to get the awards, like during the COVID. I had an experience where my film won Best Director and Best Editing, and the editing award broke because it was this big crystal beautiful glass kind of thing.
Did you?
But they also no, my friend who picked it up on my behalf and fell off her couch.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
But they also have fancy embossed certificates in these really nice folders. So whenever I get out of festival season, I will be shipping it to my editor because he deserves that. And my composer has won an award, and all my actors have won. And my lead actress, you know, it's like, okay, I got to ship these to them because, you know, it wasn't just me, it was all of them. You know, for me,
I'm glad you're doing it that way and acknowledging them. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, Amy does a good job with that.
That's great.
I feel like everybody should do that because it's such a collaborative process, you know, and everybody has their part and to play. So I'm very. We also got to play.
Jenny's watching, so say hi to her.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny. How are you?
She played Missy. Is it that Jenny?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hi, Jenny. No, we met at the.
Hold on, I'll be back in a minute. I'm freezing.
I know you are. We met at the ICFF, and it was really fun. It was. I'd never been to that film festival before. And it was pretty amazing. There were some really wonderful people there, and I got to teach 2 classes. I'm going to do this again. I taught a master class in screenwriting, and then that was just a screenwriting class, and then I taught another class on how to market yourself as a screenwriter.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, and maybe not this year because all the places, but I tell you, I enjoy ICFF. So, we had a beautiful time with Isaac Hernandez. We called ourselves a dream team.
Oh, he's
yeah, he is amazing. He's executive. Guy. Yeah, he's executive producing The Guardian Sacrifice.
And what is The Guardian Sacrifice?
It's based off my award-winning novel, and Green Apple Entertainment is developing it as well. And so he said, once we pitched it, with the pitch deck and everything, and he said, yes, in like 5 seconds, it said limited series, 5 episodes. So I was really excited about, that was at Branson, because we got to eat with Joshua Carpenter at Branson, and we had a 3-hour meening, and it was like, he also said yes to the Assassins, or he's going to Green Apple's going to distribute my next feature film, which is the Assassins Redemption, which is so it was like, and this and it's like I was mentioning earlier, this show is going to be this is Recovery Unplugged Live, but we're going to develop it into a TV show, and I have a meeting about that with Redemption Management.
You're just on fire.
Thank you. It's like, I'm 46 years old, and I'm like, you know what? I survived bipolar disorder. I mean, really, you can't tell me. I had someone literally tell me at ICFF, and not the runners, because Marty is great and Sue is great, and almost just about everybody there is great. But this person told me, you'll never get it made as long as you insist on directing about Letters to Daniel. And it's so funny, because I had some people from ICFF, and I had some people from Indie Gathering, and I had some people from AOF. So I built this team out of all these festivals I went to, including John, who was key grip extraordinaire on, and Letters to Daniel also got accepted as a feature film into the Christian Family Film Festival. I think that's the name of it. I had a lot come in the last. So
that's awesome. That's so important to get to all those different festivals. Yeah.
It is important.
Yeah. And Green Apple is distributing Letters to Daniel. So it's I'm like, yay.
All right. Well, enough about you.
Enough about me. Let's talk about Bob.
Let's show the Old King Cole trailer, and then we'll be back.
Oh, okay.
The trailer.
Yeah. So this is created by Del Weston, and you'll see a lot of different characters if you're watching live that we've had on the show, and this is in production right now. More on that soon. But we'll watch this. We'll be right back.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Try to catch me howling at the moon.
Hey, welcome to. Okay. Hey, everybody. As we said, we have Bob Saenz here. He is a screenwriter and an author and a script consultant and an award-winning one at that. Why don't we start at the beginning, maybe, and tell us how you got into screenwriting to begin with.
I started off as an actor as a young man, and when I was in my teens, back in the Jurassic Park era, I was a stage actor, and when I did did a lot of that, and then I met my wife when I was about 22, and I was doing a stage production, and I figured, you know what, I'm going to do this again so I can block my things so it won't fade in and out. I met her, and I decided I didn't want to do that anymore because acting doesn't pay. And I went into business, and I was very successful in business. until about 40. And then I decided to try acting again. And I went and told her that. And when I picked her up off the floor, she said, okay, give it a shot. And God was amazing. And I got my SAG card pretty quick in a movie called Angels in the Outfield. And I started acting, and I did a lot of extra work, and I was walking behind a lot of stars on a lot of big movies, and you could see my elbow in some of them. And and then I got a regular small, like this tiny small recurring part on a TV series for 6 seasons. The show was called Nash Bridges. It was with Don Johnson. It was a cop show.
Oh, wow.
And I was the sergeant in their station house or their barge or whatever they were in, depending on what season it was, ferry boat. And I did that part. I played that part for 6 seasons. And I was in a lot of other movies and a couple other TV shows, and really discovered I wasn't going to make it, huge as an actor, this face. And so I started writing, and I found out I was a much better writer. Thank you, Lord. Much better writer than I was an actor. And I started writing, and it took a while of hard work and really trying to learn the craft of screenwriting, because it's a craft. And I worked hard for a decade without getting anything made. I'd sold a couple of scripts, and I'd optioned a couple of scripts, and I'd, worked on a couple of independent films that didn't get made. So finally in 2012, my first film got made. It was a Hallmark Christmas movie called Help for the Holiday.
Cool.
With Summer Glau, and it was a huge hit for Hallmark. And it started me writing movies for them. I've written 10 movies for them. And I have secular movies that I wrote a thriller called Extracurricular Activities. I wrote that was in the theaters. I wrote a Christian, a faith adjacent film that just came out this year called Church People. I wrote a film called Farmer and the Bell last year that did super well, and I'm very proud of. And I wrote a film called The Christmas Yule Blog, which showed on Lifetime last year. That was really near and dear to my heart, because my last name, Saenz, is Cuban. And my grandmother, who didn't speak much English, if any, really had cool things that we did at Christmas. And I basically wrote a script, not based on my family, but but the things that happened in it were things that happened to my family or with my family when I was a kid, were those Cuban Christmases. And so it was really a kind of a love letter to my grandmother. And it did really well on Lifetime last year. So I'm very, very happy about that. And I just finished a film script that I sent in today to a production company. So.
Busy.
I've got a bunch of projects that are in the I've got them all on my whiteboard up there. I had a whole bunch of projects. It looks like I've sold in 2018, the end of 2018, I was diagnosed with bladder cancer. And I had surgery and I had chemo, and while I was having the chemo, I wrote a horror movie because it was the perfect time to write a horror movie. And now it looks like it's probably going to get made. So I'm pretty.
Wow.
You mentioned faith adjacent, and that's something I'd like to expand on because I never saw myself as writing something faith based. But
you want to know what the
because
difference is between faith-based and faith-adjacent?
what?
The difference is faith-based films preach to the choir. They're the ones
Right.
where they can be wonderful films. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But
right.
they preach to the choir. They preach to the believers. Faith-adjacent films are films that are accessible to non-believers, but still have a very, very faith-based message that can be given. Well, a perfect example is Farmer and the Bell. Church People is a perfect example too. Two movies that I wrote that I don't think are preaching to the choir as much as they're accessible to non-believers, but there's still enough there to where maybe they're looking at it and thinking, wonder what's, maybe I should look at it.
Maybe I should look into that.
We're supposed to be evangelists, and that's one of the ways that we do it is in an outreach that way.
I'm writing the Guardian Sacrifice and both Assassin's Redemption are considered faith adjacent. That's how we pitched it, and I was always more, and I was never. It's not that they're bad films. That's just never been faith-based films. Have never been kind of my wheelhouse. But I realized that
they're not mine either.
Yeah,
I don't want to preach to the choir. I want to stretch and preach to, and not preach, but reach. Let's take the P off of it. We want to reach, believers.
Recently, did you ever write any plays or like one-man shows or anything like that?
No, I've thought about writing a play. I had an idea for a play. I haven't written it yet. I'm just, I've been, during the COVID year, I wrote a novel. So that's pretty exciting. And then I have a screenwriting book that I wrote. I've got right here.
Hey, please hold them up.
This is called That's Not the Way It Works. It's a screenwriting book. It's unique, and then it talks about the business of being in screenwriting and how you act as a business person to be a screenwriter. And it's sold extraordinarily well. And I'm very, very, very happy. It's available on Amazon. It's available on iTunes. It's available on at Barnes and Noble. It's available like everywhere you can buy a book. I mean, if they don't have it, they can order it.
Oh, that's great. I saw that book at ICFF. I was like, cool, I want it, but I had to eat. So
I'll send it.
It was like, you'll send it to me?
Sure, I'll send you one. Just afterwards, we'll get your address. I'll send you one. And now she's gone. So, this is a time when we have.
It's always strange when that happens, isn't it?
Yes. We were just getting on a roll.
I know, right?
There she is. Hi, you're back.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi is so bad.
I thought you were going to blame your cat. So.
No, it's purely my Wi-Fi is crap. So,
so you're going to ask me some questions.
Yes, I am. I'm pivoting to the mental health stuff.
Good.
And what I want to know is, have you, and feel free to pass on this question, have you ever been directly or indirectly affected by mental illness?
I have been directly affected by mental illness.
Okay.
My mother, who now I realize was either bipolar or schizophrenic. And I did not, as a child, and as growing up in the time that I did, where, there weren't those kinds of diagnoses, or I didn't realize what made her the way she was. I just wanted to get out of there. And it wasn't fun, and it wasn't good, and it was violent. And it affected a lot of my thought processes for a lot of years until I was able to just let it go. And, and Jesus helped me with that.
Yeah.
But it very much affected me. And it was a very big part of my life as a child. But
so
as a kid, and during those times, you don't know what's wrong with her. In fact, it wasn't until I was grown up and middle aged that I finally said, "Wait a second, I think she was probably either bipolar or schizophrenic."
For me, when I was diagnosed, I started, it was like I ended up going to 3 different psychiatrists to get a diagnosis. So
my mother would have never gone to a psychiatrist, and she would have never allowed herself to be diagnosed. So it was what it was. And at about 16 or 17, I was basically out of the house and on my own.
Yeah, that's the insidious nature of bipolar disorder, because the way your brain is wired, people are afraid to reach out. I don't know of anybody who wants to go, "Hey, I have bipolar disorder." And
but when somebody is not that bad, you don't reach out for them, you run away from them, and especially when you when you don't understand it and you can't fix it, and it hurts, and there are times when a lot of times when it physically hurt, that you need to get out, and that's what I did.
Yeah, it's like I tell people, I say, it's like it's on a spectrum, and some experience it more severely than others. And clearly it was your mother had many, and I can't imagine being in that situation.
There were times when she was just great. She was fabulous. And then there were times when, it was like, what did you do with my mother? And you could only as a kid, and this was in the 60s. So as a kid, and all this stuff is going on, and all this you can, and I said, I'm out of here. And now I think back, maybe I could have gotten her some help. I don't think so. Because
back in the 60s, treatment was so far away from what it is now.
Oh,
it's
it's light years. And and the fact is that it wasn't talked about, and it wasn't discussed, and it wasn't out in the open. So as somebody who was, I think, fairly intelligent, I wasn't able to understand, because there was no openness about it anywhere. So I wasn't able to understand what was going on, and to put a name to it, or to put a diagnosis to it. So I was, it was just a time, and I feel badly about it. I feel guilty about it at times. It was a time to get out, and that's what I did.
It's okay to take care of yourself. That's what I told Missy, like, as she famously said to me, it's not that I don't care, it's that I don't understand. And she was my caregiver pretty much through, as I was getting stable and everything. And I told her at that time, I said, I know I'm in a bad place. Please take care of yourself just as well. It's okay. Don't feel guilty. You did what probably at that time was the only thing you could do to protect yourself. So,
and my mother, I could take in like 20-minute chunks, and we did go visit her, and she wanted at times to have the kids left with her to do stuff. And I would just, the kids would always say, why can't we stay with her? And I would say, it isn't working out right now, kids. I would never have left my children with her. And but she lived to be 94.
Wow.
And was alone a lot of the time, living in her own world, and God bless her. I wish I could have helped her. I really do. I wish I could have been the one that figured it out, but I just didn't,
Well, it's okay. I'm here to tell you, as someone with bipolar disorder, I know I've been in the darkest places, and I'm not always, like Missy said, you're no cakewalk. I love you, but you're no cakewalk. And she really, I was fortunate in that she goes, maybe, I said, why'd you stay? And she said, because first of all, my family has a saying, good men don't run. But she goes, also, we were probably a little codependent.
Well,
but, I was.
And when I finally realized it, I worried that at some point that it might affect me, or I might pass it on to my kids, or,
Yeah.
But so far, so good. I mean, my children are great. And I've seemed to have, and my brother and sister are good. So and so maybe she was an anomaly, because I knew her sisters, I knew my aunts, and they weren't, they didn't want much to do her either. So
They say there's about 9 factors that go into any bipolar diagnosis, right? It's like on a spectrum. It's like, no one's bipolar is exactly the same, which makes it one of the more difficult illnesses to treat. There's some overlap. Like like you said, your mom very well could have been schizophrenic. Yes. Because bipolar has some feature, you can have psychotic breaks, and it will have psychotic features. And also,
I can't tell you if she was a manic depressive or bipolar or schizophrenic. I just know that there was a short circuit somewhere. And it's sad to me. I mean, it's great now that there are so many great treatments for it for people. But at that time, there really wasn't. And so.
Yeah.
Well, she never would admit it. She would have admitted there was a problem.
Yeah. My cousin Logan, he has bipolar disorder as well. And he is on and off his medication. And the last time he had a psychotic break, he tried to climb a 5G tower and knock it down. So, yeah. So,
that is truly the definition of a psychotic break.
Yes. I love him, but he is very troubled, and I can, and at some point you have to take care of yourself. I had friends like that, and you have to eventually you have to take care of yourself first. And my heart goes out to you that your mom suffered, and that you suffered as a result of her suffering.
It doesn't need to go out to me. It goes out to her, and I just, there are times when I get this guilt feelings that, could I have done something? And I look back and think, I don't know what.
Well, you did the best you could.
Do you have any other questions?
Yes, I do actually. I want to say, so as you know, being in the industry as you have been, yes. Have you witnessed other people with mental illness on sets or on stage, and how was it handled?
I've known a couple of people that were very well functioning, who were bipolar, who were on their meds and did super well. And they were not afraid to admit it, that were involved in productions I was involved with, and there was not a problem. But they also were responsible in taking their medicines, and and trying very hard to control what was going on. Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, there isn't any walk of life that you can be in, or any business you can be in, that there isn't going to be someone, and especially, and maybe a lot of people that you don't know, who have a mental illness like that that's being controlled by really good meds.
Yeah. I know for me, with the guardian sacrifice, it is about faith versus institutionalized religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how Western religion sometimes has trouble with the acceptance of, sometimes there's an attitude in some churches that it's like, you just need Jesus, and they will encourage people to go off their meds. And
well,
that I wanted to
I'm wow. I mean,
that I've experienced it. That's the only reason I say that.
Wow.
I don't want to say that's a universal problem. And also, we had a husband and wife on where that happened to her, and so I wanted to. Yeah. I wanted to.
God allowed these doctors and these companies and these researchers to get this medicine. I mean, there's
I believe that.
There's that old joke about the guy in the flood who's on the roof.
Yes.
And somebody comes in a boat to get him, and he goes, "Nope, God's going to save me." And then somebody comes, with a helicopter, and the guy goes, "Nope, God's going to save me." And then the water comes up, and he drowns, and he's facing God, and he said, "How come you didn't save me?" And God goes, "I sent a boat. I sent a helicopter."
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally get that train of thought. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, what do you think could be done? Because caregivers, I think, are the unsung heroes of the mental health movement.
I agree with you.
I think they are, because I can truly say I felt like God put Missy in my life, because if he hadn't, I wouldn't have made it out of Texas at the time alive, because it was like heaven and dysphoria.
That mental health caregivers can only help if the people who are having the problems are working hard to help themselves too.
Yeah, she said if something's wrong, you really need to get it checked out. And then we went to like 3 different therapists or psychiatrists until I finally got a diagnosis that was correct. And in fact, the first psychiatrist I went to was in an ER, and she said, "You're obsessing on this. You need to calm down and move on." And I was like, "It's all in your head." That's what she said. It was all in your head. I was like, that's the problem. but ultimately I persisted in trying to find the diagnosis, and then I got into treatment, and then I worked really hard to get better.
I think you're doing great. I mean, you're accomplishing so much, and you're able to do what we're doing right now. We're able to do an interview like this, and be honest about what you've gone through, and listen to other people about what they're either going through or they've gone through in the past. So good for you. I mean, good for you for working hard to control this and conquer this. I really admire that.
Thank you.
So you got another question for me?
Yes, I'm going to move on to fun questions now. They're just right. Okay, so these are fun questions.
Hard questions, fun questions. I'll take whatever you got.
Okay, the fun question is, first fun question. If your life were a movie, what would the title be?
Emotion sickness.
Ooh. Okay, and
if you were to cast anybody in the cinematic universe to portray
me?
Yes.
To play me? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You know what? That's why I like casting directors so much, because they know who to cast. I'm always shocked and surprised at who they cast in my movies, because they find these really great people that I didn't even think of, and so I'll let the casting people cast me. I did write a script called Emotion Sickness, and it is kind of based on my relationship with my mom, and it hasn't been made yet, and it's kind of a fantasy. It's a really strange movie. A lot of people like it a lot, the script a lot, and one of these days I'm hoping it gets made.
Okay. Now I'm interested, because I made Letters to Daniel is basically the story of me and Missy and my journey with bipolar disorder. So I'm incredibly interested in scripts like that.
This one is a little more entailed. It's not exactly. It's not about me. I mean, there's a lot of real life things that happen to me, maybe, in it.
Maybe.
I just, I'm not there. I mean, there's a lot of things that didn't happen, and there's a lot of things that did. I'm not going to say which is which, but it's a journey of a man who needs to stop blaming himself for stuff.
Oh,
and
that's powerful.
But it's not as much about the mom's problem as it is his feeling that a lot of the stuff was his own doing.
Look, please enter this script into my festival. I would like to read it.
Okay, you can read it. It's a purely secular script.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Letters to Daniel is secular. It's not.
So
people would watch it and.
Well, if you know what, will you email me the information about how to enter it? I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
Do I get enter into a contest?
Yes.
I'm a professional screenwriter. It's my job.
Yes. Okay. Let me just. Okay. So, my goal is to, create opportunities, but there is like one of the screenwriters at AOF, which Conquering Disabilities with Film is a part of, wrote the script for Fort Apache at the Appomattox with Paul Newman. So,
okay. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of film festivals that they won't let me enter because I'm a professional. And you can enter the. There are a lot of them that say, these are really for, up and coming, or people who haven't, done what you've done or what professionals do. I mean, I'm headed, I'm looking at, with everything that's going on, headed in the next 2 years, headed to my 20th produced film. And so
I'm going to tell you, I told you what I was doing recently. And before that, I had shot and filmed 23 films, and they were music videos. They were all things, right? If I can enter in AOF MegaFest, you can enter in Conquer, because I want to honor scripts with content like that.
Okay, well, let's do this. When we get done here, send me the how I can enter information in an email.
Yeah,
you've got my email.
Okay,
I will enter the script. Okay.
Oh, awesome! Thank you. And finally, have you had the chance? Well, not finally, but the next to last question is: have you had a chance to meet any of your heroes, like screenwriting or writing heroes or actors or whatever has inspired?
Actors I've met. You want to go down the list of the people that I've either worked with or met? I've gotten to meet Clint Eastwood. I've gotten to meet. I've met Sean Connery. I've
Wow.
Ron Howard. I've worked for Francis Coppola. I've worked for David Fincher.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Have you worked with Daniel Craig?
No.
But all those names are very impressive because I'm a big.
I'm Matt Damon, and I got to know Robin Williams pretty well. Yeah, it was that. Talk about sad.
Yes.
I knew him. I've either worked on as an actor on about 6 or 7 of his movies, and so we got to know each other on set. We didn't hang around outside of it.
Yeah.
But we got to know. I had been and worked on so many of them that we actually got to kind of know each other and talk a lot and laugh a lot. And he was one of the more extraordinary people I've ever met in my entire life. He was.
God, it makes me cry just thinking about him.
He was an amazingly.
And I didn't even know him.
Yeah, he was an amazingly cool guy, and it was. We had he was happy to see me when I showed up on set, and we got along really well. It was very sad, and I was kind of crushed with what happened to him, but it was with what he had, it was totally understandable.
Yeah.
Lewy body dementia is a horrendous disease, horrendous, and I understand.
Which film of Ron Howard's did you work on?
I'm in a movie called Ed TV. And there she goes.
Huh?
I said I'm in a movie called
Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, Ed TV.
Yeah. I'm in that movie.
Cool.
So and then I did 2 Coppola movies, and I did 2 Clint Eastwood movies, and I did I'm in Jurassic Park 2, and I'm in Zodiac, the David Fincher movie that I play a crazy person. It was fun. And I've been in a lot of independent films. And I've been in a couple of my own films. I'm in extracurricular activities, and I'm in Church People.
Cool. Okay, so last question. I
haven't given up acting. I'm just not doing it very much. My acting agent retired, and I didn't replace her. And the acting jobs that I get nowadays are directors or producers who call me and say, "We don't want to cast this. Do you want to just do this part?" And it's a tiny little, probably 1 scene or 2 scene part. And I do them. You're going to watch something one of these days, and I'm going to walk through, and you're going to go, "Oh, there he was for a second.
There he is." I know him. Yeah. I know him.
Yeah, but don't blink. You'll miss me.
So, do you have representation as a writer?
Yes, I have an agent in Los Angeles, and I have a manager in Los Angeles. I live in Nashville, but I have an agent in Los Angeles, and I have a manager in Los Angeles, and I talk to them weekly. So I talked to my manager today, on Monday.
Okay.
So yes, I do. I have my manager I've been with for like a decade, and agent I've been with for like 5 years.
Okay, and finally, do you have any wisdom or advice for those screenwriters or actors or directors who are coping with mental illness and also trying to, so to speak, make a name for themselves or break through?
Here's the advice I give when I'm teaching these classes, and the best advice I can give you is don't give up. It takes a decade to break into this business. It does. Eric Heiser, who wrote Arrival, the movie Arrival.
Yes, I love that movie.
I read that script 10 years before it got made.
Wow.
And that's how long it takes. It took me 12 years from the time I wrote my first script to the time I had my first produced film. It's a craft. You have to write great scripts, and then you have to learn how to market yourself, and you have to learn how to market your scripts. That's why my book can be a shortcut for some people. But there's really no shortcuts. I mean, you can just not make the same mistakes I did. But don't give up. There's so much rejection in this business that it can really affect you if you let it. But the one thing you have to realize is they're not rejecting you personally. They're rejecting what you've written or what you want to make, or for any amount of reasons. There can be hundreds of reasons why they aren't choosing to make your movie or buy your script or cast you in something that has nothing to do with who you are. And the one thing you can remember about that is when you get rejections like that of your work, it's not personal, because they're not thinking about you as a person. They're only thinking about what's on that page, what's on your audition that they look for, and you could be the perfect person for that part, but you look like their cousin and they hate their cousin. So there's so many reasons for things to happen in business that you have to be able to have a very thick skin and a lot of patience and understand that you can't take it personally. It's hard.
Can we talk a few minutes after the show is over in the Zoom room?
Sure.
Okay. That was my last question.
Okay.
And hey, John, were there any questions?
No questions from the audience. I just I had a great time listening to the conversation, Bob, and listening to your story. I really appreciated the homage that you did to your grandmother in that one film, and also the script that you're sending Amy, talking about this loosely based on the story with your mother and the struggles that she had. But I especially appreciate how your accomplishments and all the work that you've done, and it was just a joy to listen to and hear your wisdom and your wit.
Thank you. Well, you know what? It's God gave me a sense of humor. Thank you. And that people, somehow I've tricked them into paying me for it. So
that's the key. That's the American way.
You betcha. Oh no, only here.
How can people get a hold of you, or are there any current projects you're working on?
I just sent a script in to a production company that they hired me to write, and that probably will get made, but I can't talk about it because it's not real yet. Mm-hmm. I'm working on a lot of projects. I have about a dozen of them out there right now, and they're all kind of just on the edge. If they all happen at once, I'm in big trouble.
Right.
But we'll see which one lands next. I've got a couple of really exciting ones. One of them that is super exciting. I'm really excited about. So we'll see what happens. But there are a lot of very close projects that I learned a long time ago that you don't talk about stuff that isn't real yet.
Yep.
Because
you'll jinx yourself.
There's too many ways. No, it's not jinxing. It has to do with there's too many ways for them to go south.
Yeah.
Any film. Here's my philosophy. Any film that gets made is a miracle. Any film that's a good film, I call that a two-miracle film.
Mm-hmm.
And a million things have to go right, but if one thing goes wrong, it can all go away. So I don't talk about my projects until they're like real.
Right on. That's Bob Saenz, everyone. Thanks for coming on Recovery Unplugged Live.
Thank you all.
Amy, what's up? When's our next one? We doing next Monday?
Yes. Yeah, because Isaac said he would come on my show. I just got to touch base with him.
Yeah, good old Isaac. I like Isaac.
All right. So we will be back next Monday.
And if you ever want me to come back, I'll come back.
Yes.
Sounds good. Well, you guys are going to talk offline, and we're going to go offline. So we'll see everybody next week for another Recovery Unplugged Live.
See ya.
Bye.
on my hands. Strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Try to catch me howling at the moon.
Upside down and shaking all around. There seemed no end inside. I thought I was losing. I remember what you say. You've got a place for me. Protection from the storm. It's you I'm choosing. You've got a love so pure. It pulls me in for sure.